bringing a 2x4 to hip class, it's a liability. But you can train this way, and those of you that are becoming coaches, you'll be training your clients this way. You'll have a 2x4 PVC pipe in the room, and you'll be doing these things with them. So when you're training yourself, like I just have a chunk like this at home, so just something like this that will is enough for your stance. But then, once the heels are propped, I can get down pretty low. Knees are out wide, my back's flat, and I just stand up. Okay? It doesn't look easy. It looks easy, right? Yeah, I've only been doing these movements for about 3 years. No pressure. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of practice, your friend. I'm just going to move these out of the way so people can step up here. So let's have first of all, I'd like you all to just stand up where you're at, just face the front mirror. So let's try to do some squats, just some regular squats. So inner heel to your outer shoulder, right? Toes are forward. Good. And you're in a plank position, so glutes up, sun's up, glutes up. I don't know. Yeah, sun's out, buns out, I don't know. Okay, so when you counter, that can help you too. So if you have a weight, or even just reaching your arms forward, can help you get down a little bit further. So come down into your squat. It's maximum hip, maximum knee. Push the knees out just a little bit more. There you go, Vera. Good. And then when you stand up, you come into a fully plank position, and your butt squeezes really hard. So keep patterning through bottom to top of the movement. And now as we think about moving a little bit more slow strength, do it more and push the knees out, flatten out the back, make sure you squeeze the butt at the top, and you can reach forward if you need to. I know we'll fix that. So Julia is pretty mobile, so she has her feet very close. So I'm going to separate her feet out a little bit more, toes straight ahead, Okay, now move down into your squat. Push your knees out. You see how our knees they kind of want to wiggle a little bit. Keep pushing the knees out and then press up and squeeze the glutes. When you stand. Better. Keep doing it. It's good. So keep going. Great.
Oh, that keeps them from push the knees out.
Push the knees
That's
out. Keeps
the
woo. Very easy cue. Push the knees out on the way down and the way up. So when you're moving through slow strength, Emily, for you, I take a couple more inches. Yeah. That's going to get that hip crease down to where you want it. When you get that hip crease down, guess what happens? You actually recruit the glutes. If you don't get that hip crease down, you're never recruiting the glutes. Sorry. Glutes are one of the biggest muscles. If you're missing out on the glutes, that's like a whole big muscle. There's a whole big muscle back there. Okay, so let's divide it up. I'll have you guys step up to the beams here. And I want your heels up on the bar. So remember, for a hinge, it's toes up on the beam. And remember, for a squat, it's heels. Okay, so you'll see that you'll be able to shorten your stance. Sure. You will, I promise. It's going to be easier. And for you, widening out just 1 or 2 more inches. Yep, very good. Okay, so use the arms if you need to, but I bet you're going to be able to get down lower. Squeeze the glutes here at the top. Good, take a breath in. Sit down. Push the knees out. Yes, and then stand up. I know Emily was there, wasn't it? It's like, oh! And that's the core strength, and that's probably the diastasis, like that. All right, so when you sit down, really think about bracing on your inhale. Come down. Go. And then come up. Very good. Come down and keep patterning through. Good. Plank it at the top. Plank it. Keep pushing the knees out. On the way down and on the way up, push the knees out. Very good. Very nice. Okay, change. You other people, come on up. Prop your heels. And your feet should truly be about shoulder width distance, so you don't need a really wide stance here. You'll be surprised too, and toes straight ahead, they'll adjust when they need to. You'll be surprised here at how much lower you can get. Squeeze the glutes. Good. 1 more inch for you. Out. Yeah. There. That's better. Good. All right. Sit down. And come up. Push the knees out as you go. Keep moving through it. Keep pushing the knees out as you go. And when you inhale at the top, brace your abs before you come down. And then you exhale when you're almost all the way up to the top and you squeeze the glutes hard. Beautiful, Abby, good. That's it, very good. Keep pushing those knees out, knees out, knees out. It looks nice, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Like the backs are flat. Maximum hip, maximum knee. Getting a lot of ankle. Okay, now just step forward. Step forward off and just do some squats. Oh, whoopsie daisies. So take a breath in, brace, and come back. And come up. Push the knees out. Beautiful. Okay, excellent. So there are some things that you can train that will help with this movement. Are you surprised? Say no, Wendy.
No,
tell us more.
Please tell us.
Okay, so ways for you to train this movement to become better at this movement. So especially if you're struggling with the hip mobility, with the ab strength, with the glute strength, with the everything strength, right? Anything that you're struggling with, we can help with that. We can help with. Like there's no reason to live with like struggle and pain in postures and in exercises. So the base level that I do with people, I'll prop up their heels like this. This is great. So propping up your heels to be able to move through it, but then you'll see the deficiency of the symmetry, right, Abby, and of the ab strength. You'll see it right away. So the things that you can do for this, we have mobility bands for the hips, for you. So that mobility band that we used for pull-ups, you can use that same band, or you can go just a little bit higher. I go a little bit higher, and you step into the band. So again, once you have your bands at your studio, you guys will be able to rock it out, do some stuff, and work with coaches. They could even do like a group session with you or something, like do something. So with a really heavy band, you walk out as far as you can. I'm coming down to all fours right here. Hi. And I will do a quadruped rock back with this looped onto my hip. I get it really high up into the hip, and I'll rock back and forward. Does this position look like you've done it before?
Yes.
It's a squat position. It's just a quadruped rock back, and my back stays flat. Yep. And for these, I do keep my toes curled under because I know I'm making this look easy, but it's a lot of resistance. And I do circles, one way and the other way. That strengthens mobility and stability of the hip joint. Incredible. People ask me, they're like, does your low back hurt? Do your hips hurt? I'm like, no, I do this every day. But I work here. Like I just come in, and you guys can come into any of the Sunstones before your class and work on some things after your class. Then you turn to the side. Hello. Then you turn to the side, and it's pulling you from the side. So I'm in a squat position, quadruped rock back position, and I go forward and back. And then I do some circles. And then I go the other way. And then that hip is stabilized and it's mobilized. The squats are a lot stronger.
So you just do it on your weaker side?
I do it on both sides.
On both sides, okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I do both sides. Okay. So this one is a strap for the boys. So Daniel, you can move that strap up on the kind of where I move this one, and then hook in your one of your hips. And I'll have Mandy do this one next. And then I'm going to move on to another thing while she's doing this and he's doing that. So looking at Emily's squat and Abby, dealing with symmetry and ab work, you want to get yourself on a door frame or on a pole, some structure to move yourself up and down. So we call this the door frame squat. And it looks like this. Just move these back. These are for the landmines. Okay. So you could do this in a door frame where you grab both sides. You could also grab a door handle if you don't have like a structured door frame. Again, all things that you can do at home that you can train every single day. So you want to step up close to the door frame or close to the pole. What's my squat position?
Standing plank.
Yep, and what should my feet be doing?
Shoulder.
And how far apart are they?
Shoulder.
Yeah, about shoulder. And then I can adjust the feet when I come down, right? And then the definition of the squat when I'm lowered is,
Maximum width, maximum knees.
yeah, and what should my back be doing?
Flat.
Yeah. So all I do is walk down the pole. I adjust my feet, I bring my elbows to my knees, and I lift my chest. I rock the weight back a little bit, I push the knees out, I lift the chest again, I get down low, maximum hip, maximum knee, fully supported, back is flat. I use my hands and my abs. I've already taken an inhale breath. I brace and I walk up. Hips and shoulders come up at the same time. Hips come up at the same time. Shoulders come up at the same time. So that's something that should be happening in the squat. Hips and shoulders should be coming up at the same rate at the same time. Yeah, and so I do about 60 to 100 of these every day.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, if I'm doing that, like you guys should be doing something, right? So on like slower days, I probably do 10. When I'm working, if I'm doing deadlifts, I might do 10 to 15 of these, but work deadlifts instead. So I alternate different things. Okay, so once Daniel is done, Mac, I want you to do the hip mobility thing. And then once Mandy is done, Abby, I want you on that hip mobility thing on the green band. So then once I hold, if you can hold a position for 2 minutes, so goblet squat or door frame squat, hold it for like 20 to 30 seconds down there, see how that feels, 15 maybe, for your first time. Holds might be more like 15 seconds, bar hang, that kind of thing. They might be shorter, but eventually you want to build up hold time. Hello. You want to build up your hold times? But another thing that you can do with the door frame squat is come down, open it up, and then just move through the movement. So when I'm actually moving through, like after I hold my first one down there for a few seconds, kind of get like deep into those joints, then I just do a few rounds. Just a few rounds. Come and try.
Is there a maximum that somebody should go down, or is it whatever their range of motion is?
Whatever the range of motion is.
So if they're like touched, they were perfectly whatever.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just going to the range of motion. And Emily, come over here to this one.
Close, I mean,
But I can't lift myself back up.
Exactly. That's the problem. I'll hit my time. Ram it out.
So with that band, make sure you get it way up in your business. Like it needs to be way up in there, and only you can do that.
That's for the female.
There's a hair on it.
I'll go too close.
It's not for me.
That's kind of not the best.
When they're
When you come down, make sure your elbows get you underneath, so you might need to be closer to the bar too. So you may need to, did you see how close I was to the bar? My belly was actually working for it, so yeah, about right there. Yep, good.
And this is when you
Right,
have
those hips.
what they're doing is strengthening and stabilizing the hips here.
Yes.
And then here, they're just practicing the whole.
This is hips and abs.
Uh-huh.
This is hips and ab stability. Mobility and stability in the hip. You're getting a lot of ab. Over here, they're also getting a lot of abs, plus they're getting maximum hip and maximum knee. So you're kind of getting a lot of everything. It's not like you're just getting one thing. It's like you're getting a lot of bang for your buck with these two different movements.
I have a question.
People pay good money for me to teach them this stuff. You guys are like getting some good stuff today. Yeah.
I notice sometimes, like if I squat really heavy, sometimes my toes they come off the ground, so it's like I'm driving my heels, and you get that rock effect. How do you stop that rock effect?
Pushing through the center of your foot. Pushing through the center of your foot and more abs.
So should I use more of my like? It's weird.
Are you back squat or overhead squat or?
I do.
Oh, so both of them, when you have the rock.
So like when I come if I'm doing a regular squat, like if I cut down, like sometimes my toes come up, so it rocks me back.
Yeah, and that's an ab and a low back thing too, where you'll rock a little bit, press through the center of the foot, and abs more. It's an inhale bracing thing. Remember we talked about the breath a little bit? The breath will also drive your movements better, or they'll get better or worse. Anybody else want to try that mobility band over there?
Go for it.
Less with your stance. So stand a little bit.
I got you.
Thank you.
For posterity.
Yes, come down step closer to my part. Good. Now when you come down, if you will adjust, come down. You hear and squat all the time. Make sure that your knees don't pass the toes. That is not true. It's just not true. It's gonna happen. The biggest thing about a squat is the weight placement. The weight needs to be where? In your heels. And IQ heels, or the center of the foot, push both feet into the floor. So for hinge and for squat, push your feet into the floor, get the weight in the center of the foot or closer to the back. That's going to ensure safety of the knees. But your knees are probably going to come forward past your toes, honestly. If you're doing maximum hip and maximum knee, yeah. It was one of those group class cues that got started for safety reasons, and now what it's done is it's made everyone have a poor squat. So you want to do a little bit of.
Yeah,
She's crawling.
Woo!
You missed the rock back.
Yeah, she did a rock back.
She's nodding.
Making a
Yeah,
bread.
she's
Doing
doing
ready
really
to go
bad.
back for it.
Nodding. There it is.
Show us a roll. Show us a roll. I'm not your monkey.
Reset that.
Pretty soon there will be a pack and play here too, just a community pack and play, I'm sure. So it's important that you know that if you hear these cues, and like if you have people correcting you in class, like smile and nod, and then when they turn around, just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing how you know you've learned it today. And I've had quite a bit of time to see all of you do the movement now, and just keep these rules in mind, kind of the definition of the movements, what you're looking for, that spine. It's a neutral spine, you're not arching or rounding. It's a strong spine with a neutral chin in these positions. Any of the positions you never want to dump forward or back in the spine or the neck, the low spine or the neck. Yeah. Okay, so secondary issues to watch for throughout the entire movement. So if I was teaching someone to pattern a movement, what would I say the top of the movement is?
Standing plank.
Yeah, it's a plank position. Would I try to adjust their feet a lot, or what would I say about the feet? Toes forward, and your feet would be about shoulder width distance. For a hinge, it can be hip to shoulder. For a squat though, it needs to be a little bit more on the shoulder side. My rule is inner heel to your outer shoulder. So when I stand up, I mean, my squat doesn't look like that right now, but my squat looks like my inner heel is to my outer shoulder. This is my normal squat. Inner heel to outer shoulder. And then my toes are straight ahead, and then they can adjust as I move down and push the knees out. So then I only adjust the feet as much as needed, instead of having the feet pre-adjusted in a turnout that's not needed. A lot of people start with an unnecessary turnout. So that's why we start toes forward. Same thing as the hinge. The knees should track with your toes. Watch for knees knocking inward. You can use the resistance bands yourself if you'd like to train that at home. You guys should know that buying these bands on Amazon, you can get a whole set of the ones that we use for bar, a whole set for $8. You can buy a whole set of these for like $40. So on Amazon, look up mobility resistance bands, all this stuff will pop up. It's pretty inexpensive, especially if it's stuff you want to have at home. So weight should always be driving through the heels or the center of the foot. When you cue it in class, you say heels because people get pretty far forward in the balls of their feet. For yourself in your own training, you should know it's the center of the foot. And where's the center of the foot? Shoelaces. Yeah, it's not when you look down, it's not this, right? Stability and mobility through the hips, knees, and the ankles. So a lot of what we see when people get up and down from a squat is this. Are you ready?
Lead with the butt.
At first,
That's it.
so then they're not recruiting the right muscles, like
That, if they're lifting their hips first, that means that they're lacking stability in their hips and ab strength. So you tell them to lift their chest, flatten their back, and it doesn't matter if that means they have to shorten their range of motion. You want to try to get your hip crease below, at least to your knee or below your knee. That's what you're trying to do in a squat, okay? Very difficult step, but you can do it with practice, and if you don't have a 35-pound weight here at your belly.
I feel like you're using that as an excuse.
I know, don't you? I wish it were just an excuse. I have to widen my stance quite a bit to get all the way down, but I can't. I just have to widen my stance. Yeah, and then I'm down.
Right, that's fine.
Yeah. So I just have to widen it, or I have to drop my heels. So we see a lot of ankle mobility problems too. Oh, symmetry. Let's start with symmetry first. So we also see this. And I'm exaggerating, but not really. We've all seen it. We've all seen it. And that's a hip that's not really recruiting. So the resistance bands around the upper thighs, around just above the knees, will help that. Help to recruit the hips at the same time and get them engaged.
I would mind my knee constantly goes in. Like
Okay, yeah,
it
get
never wants to. It's embarrassing to try and do that in a HIIT class, and you know your knees aren't.
Work with your bands every day.
Woo! Yeah. That's a
Was
good
it
thing.
burning?
Shaking and burning.
Shaking and burning.
Is this a
Shaking and burning. Okay, if you have not been up here yet, please grab a weight and come up.
It's okay that it's killing you.
Killing us softly with goblet squats. Okay, just under your center. Make sure you never pick up that weight ahead of you. You always pick up weight like it's 100 pounds. It's got to be under your center. That's the best case scenario, okay?
That was cool.
Yeah, so write down notes. Please take notes because you will forget about bringing the elbows to your knees, and you will forget about the hinge to the squat, and you will forget about hold it for a little while, and then the breath patterning. So write down, take notes of things that you need, that you won't remember because once you leave this room, any of them,
variation.
any of them, any variation that you would like to do. Lovely.
I got the lighter weight just in case.
That's
What was this? This is what it was for?
good. And remember, you can adjust the feet once you're down there. If it feels a little bit gnarly, you can adjust the feet a little bit. The back is flat. What was that, Gary?
What did we want to do from here?
Oh, you don't straighten the legs completely. You move into a hinge. So you actually keep your elbows to your inner knees. And you keep your hands to the sides of the form. No other weight. Thumbs back on. Mm-hmm. So you keep the thumbs there, come down into your squat, push the knees out, come down into your squat all the way, then push the knees out, and then come into your hinge and drive the weight right here between the yeah, good. And then come back down to the squat. So it's like a pendulum swing, and you squeeze the shoulder blades even more. Woo. Yeah. Okay. Woo! You guys might be feeling this tomorrow, I'm just saying.
Good.
You might be feeling something. The main thing that you should be feeling is how much more open your hips and your ankles are.
Great after the band.
I have, and I'm swearing by this that that's why my back and my hips don't hurt. I'm like, it's that. And the door frame squats every day. Also, my dad called me a couple days ago and he said, I've been meaning to tell you those door frame squats are really helping. They're really helping my hip. Anybody can do them. Anyone. Yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah. Get your family doing it.
No,
Do it together.
I lost it. Oh God.
Which one?
Was this why I was using this one?
No,
I think
that's a big boy.
That's 53.
That's what it is.
You were using 45 and you were using 26. I think it's 32 or 27.
That one's 35.
Oh, that's great.
That was fine.
35.
Yes.
No, that's the boy one. He's out. He's out.
So the important thing is that, well, you remember everything that happened today. I was gonna say like one thing, and it's like, no, you have to remember all this stuff, it's all super important. But know how they work and they play together. Like know how these movements, because when you come to the top of a hinge and the top of a squat, what does it look like?
Plank.
A plank. So when you see people come up from their hinge or their squat and they do this, can you help them?
Yes.
Do you know what to tell them to do?
Press their feet into the floor.
Press your feet into the floor.
Lower abs.
Squeeze the legs, squeeze the glutes, low abs, brick wall, stop.
Yeah,
Stop. Get a 2x4 and you smack them.
No back pain.
So you know how like how we did the
Don't think that's doing it.
progression for if somebody can't come up like that. It kind of like to me it kind of looks like that whole squat but up thing. So what's the main thing that we say?
Hips and shoulders should come up at the same time.
Okay.
That's moving from a hinge to a squat movement. So that's actually, you're patterning through, like it's a slightly different thing. I was only giving that as a variation. That's a little bit, I didn't really start doing that movement until I perfected my hinge to my squat, so I wouldn't really recommend like adding that to your regimen.
Well, we also didn't come up. So
Yeah,
just
you also
stay
didn't
down.
come up.
Okay.
So when you come up from a hinge and a squat, everything should be as one piece. Everything should move together. Something should not move separately from the other. One hip, one side, one quadrant. Yeah. And when you're in HIIT classes, you won't be able to do anything to, you won't be able to prop their heels. You won't be able to, and their goblet squats, you can really get them down low by telling them to, shift that weight slightly forward. That will help them counterbalance so that they can get the hips down lower. So that's something that happens in HIIT is we have this counterbalance weight. But the door frame squat and the heels up squat, you can also do a PVC pipe squat, so you can also get on. So I kind of rotate through these. I do my hinge movement. I do 5 to 10 like this, and then I step forward, and then I do 5 to 10 like this, and then I step back, and then I do 5 to 10 like this. So that's just an idea of like kind of patterning and slow movements through some things that you do on your own. Again, it's not anything we can really do in classes. So you kind of choose your battles in class. One of the main things that I want to teach you guys today is what you can do on your own to improve your movements. And then when you see certain things in class, how do you fix that? How do you address it? So for squats, if someone's starting their squat like this, you can tell them start with your toes forward. Try to get the hip crease below your knee or at least to your knee. And so what can they do? They can counterbalance with their arms forward to get all the way down, push their knees out, and then come all the way up. So, I see people like kind of doing this, and then their squats end up looking really shallow because they're worried about falling back because they don't have a counterbalance. So if you give them permission to counterbalance forward, awkward two, right? An awkward two is kind of a hinge with a squat movement, and it's a very shortened range of motion. And that's why it's so hard to access that, because you get very little hip rotation in that, because it's feet are hip width. And in a squat, there really need to be shoulder width distance, so it just makes it more difficult. Good news is, so if you know how to squat, then you know how to lunge. A lunge is a variation of the squat. So I don't want you to feel like lunge is actually like the bastard cousin of the squat. And a couple of my, Dan John says squats just need to be taken out of lunges need to be taken out of the regimen because it's hurting people's knees.
Yes.
And unfortunately with our community, when they try to do a lunge, they're like, crescent lunge. And they like do this really big, when a lunge is 90-90, that's a lunge. It's much shorter than our crescent lunges and our yoga lunges. So when we get yoga people into HIIT, we see these really big, and they're wondering why their knees hurt and their low back, because they are doing dynamic movement. Yoga is not dynamic movement. Yoga is like static, and you hold it, you stabilize. When you're doing dynamic movement like that, you're going to hurt your knee and your low back. So make sure that people shorten their lunges. So if you all just stand where you are, actually, put these weights away, because that's a hazard. a little bit of a danger here. Okay, so it goes blue after the pink, and then it goes yellow after the blue, and then gray on the second level. Gray will be on the far left. And and the orange will actually be on the far right of the middle rack, and the green will go in between. Those go down here. Very good.
PWP has thinner steel and floor blocks. Could you use those to elevate the doors? Or would they not want to mix equipment like that?
It's
People
just
be
too
standing on
dangerous. It's too dangerous to bring something out forward. All the pressure goes on the kneecap. Why would I do that to anyone? So
Resistance that it's already forward and then
You're trying to get maximum hit, remember? You're trying to get maximum bend. So I don't care about coming forward, I care about the push back. Very good. And then elbows to your knees. Yeah. Get the hips down a little bit more. Doesn't that feel awesome? Where do you feel the stretch? I feel it a lot right here. I also get really big pressure here.
Oh, there you go, she's doing it.
Whatever you need to do to kind of make it back.
There you go.
Roll it out.
oh, and when I should do my weight forward.
You can use this. And Mandy just mentioned you can use this pole to kind of shift your weight a little bit. You've got to feel where the center of the foot is, because you've taken some of the pressure off the legs. You've got pressure here in the hands. You're also using more abs. So then she inhales, she braces, and then she comes up, hips and shoulders at the same time. And you exhale when you're almost to the top. You inhale, you brace, you come down, you come up, you inhale, you brace, you come down, you come up. That's the breath, okay? So whenever you're doing goblet squats, when you're doing air squats, when you're doing any of that in HIIT, that's your breath pattern. Really hard to teach students. You can't really do that until you've had some coaching clients that you've worked with that they understand. And we have a community that understands how to breathe when they're moving. Really in a class, all you need to do is make sure that no one dies.
That's
And
been
you
my
really
mantra.
don't want people to hurt themselves, so you're focusing on how can I align them? How can I get the best alignment? What are the best cues I can use?
Yeah.
What are the best cues you can use for squat?
Knees out.
Yeah, push the knees out.
Feet to the floor.
Yeah, push your feet to the floor.
Weight in the center.
Yeah, weight in the center or the back of the foot. Good. Chest up. I don't cue chest up because then this happens.
Flat
I
back.
cue flat back, neutral chin. Flat back, neutral chin. I cannot keep my chest up. Sometimes if you cue chest up, you'll kind of get that, but then people do this. And they'll arch and they'll yeah.
And they don't get it if you say engage your abs and chest
Yeah.
up, then it's like,
Right. So I tell people, if you tell them, try to get your hips and shoulders to lift at the same time, they're like, oh, I've never thought about that. And then automatically they'll engage to get that, because they'll be like, how do I do that? I have to lift them both at the same time? So there's some very simple things that you can do. So just enjoy that experience. Did everyone do the door frame?
No, I was waiting.
Yeah, door frame. And in that mobility, make sure that you keep full tension on the band the whole time. So what you need to do, which direction did you already do? Because you need to be perpendicular. You will be perpendicular. Yeah. Okay. So this is one of the directions, and then the other direction is you turning and facing the front mirror. You have to have maximums. You've got to pull this thing out until like you feel like it's gonna snap you back.
Okay, well that makes sense. I'm like, what am I doing?
Because it should be harder when you push up this way. Your abs should be like, holy cow, and then when you pull back, it should be pulling hard into your hip joint. Okay? Yeah, this thing should feel like you are going to fly back into the pull. Okay? So you walk out until like you can't go anymore. So did you guys see me get into it? When I get into it, I get this purple one really does nothing for you, by the way. You need like at least green. This is okay. It's okay. But if you use something like this and you're pulling it out to its max, you're going to probably break or fray this band. If you use this all the time for that, I would go heavier because you're using low body and it's strong. Like your legs are meant to be strong. So I walk out here, I have it high up, I walk out here, and then I get down. And then I crawl forward. So you see how forward that is? That way when I'm in the back position, it's pulling pretty hard, and I have to use a lot of stability to pull it forward. You did great. Okay, so those are the two biggest things that I do in my own training that I can recommend for you. The door frame is the easiest access. This, you're going to need some equipment, right? You're going to need a pole or something to attach it to a tree, something. So you will need something. So do the door frame squats every day. Work yourself up doing 5. Start with 5. Maybe do a little hold. And then work yourself up. So the way that you want to filter in your training is you'll do the original 6. You'll do some door frame squats, and then you'll crawl. And then you'll do some squats, and then you'll crawl. And then you'll do some hinges, and then you'll crawl. That's a workout. 20 minutes. Boom. Done. Heart rate is up. Maybe you throw some get back ups at the end. Holy cow. Just a little banger there at the end. So we've got the mobility bands, then the door frame or the pull squat. Make sure in that door frame or pull squat that you get all the way down and your elbows come to your knees. Don't start too far away. You need to start really close.
You gotta come closer to here.
You start really, really close. So then, once I kind of work in my own training, this is what I do. I do this, and then I do the door frame. And then I prop my heels up on the 2x4, and I work through that movement. Now, all of you that have done this, get back up on the 2x4, heels propped, and go back into your squats. Yep, look at your stance. That's never. Yes, and Matt cleans the stove all the time. It's very good. Okay, you guys are squatting, right? Oh, yes. Yeah, do it. Do it, squat. And hips and shoulders come up at the same time. Yeah, walk forward so just your heels are propped. There you go. That's going to help you stabilize better. Good. Good. Yeah. Watch it. Good. Great. Okay, so all of you that are standing here, come over to the weights. Draw your shoulder blades together again. Use your weight either forward to help you counterbalance. So yeah, knees out, Mandy, try to get the hips down a little bit more. Take your toes out a little bit more, so adjust the feet. There you go, adjust the feet if you need to. You can adjust them there when you're in the low position. So you're just holding there, you're just holding, you're flattening the back. You're really engaging through the core and getting maximum hip, maximum knee. Now just set the weight down on the floor and stand up. Oh. And I'm up. Okay. So now I encourage you to do a hold first so that you open everything up and you ignite the entire body. Heather, you can grab, you got a 30-pound, okay, good.
It was so cute.
I want you to grab the gray. The gray, Vera, you get the gray as well. Okay? Very good. All right, so now you know you can just get the weight when you're down there if you struggled with the weight at the top. You can hinge and pick up your weight. Make sure that it's underneath your center though. Yeah, it's close. So you can always pick it up when you're down, or you can do a hinge move and pick it up. Make sure that you get these sides of the handles. Weights at the chest. So sit down and back. Take an inhale, breath, and brace. And stand up. Good. Inhale and brace. Come down. Stand up. Inhale and brace. Go down. Stand up. Good. Inhale and brace. And stand up. I know. Set the weight down. Bend the knees and set the weight down. Oh my goodness. Who is just so tired right now? All of you guys are like, oh,
That's the most weight I've ever done that.
man.
That was like,
Oh man, it's so good. Okay, here, who wants to take the baby? Okay, so you've got a couple of different options here when you have the weight, like I talked about. Gosh, that looked pretty good. I want to divide you up and look at that now since I have the chance. That's her weight. Yeah, you could definitely use children. That's fine. Yep, that'll work. Come on. Okay, so I'll have you three go, and we'll just watch. Okay. Yes. Over here.
So
Okay.
I'm okay when I'm going down or when I'm coming up with the weight. It's when I'm going down, like no matter how much I contract, but I feel it. Is that a side joint dysfunction?
So oh.
I mean, I have
Disgusting.
that joint dysfunction,
I'm not
but I
even
don't
sure
have.
like how to modify it, other than not.
You just build up the pelvic girdle and it.
So this is this is built up over time. Okay, that looked good. How did you guys feel? Okay.
Amazing.
So there's something else that you can do here. So if it feels okay when you come down, let's see if I remember how to do this. Come down, then you can do this and lift your hips, and then do that.
If you use heavy weight, wouldn't that hurt your lower
That's a
back?
bootstrap. It's a bootstrap.
The issue is going down.
That's why you don't. Usually when you're doing this, you're using hardly any weight, which is
So
20
try that
pounds. Back to you just go down to the squat. So if you get down there, pick it up, and then move back and forth kind of to a hinge movement, and get the bells of the sides of the, close to the bell. Right? And then, it's on the way down though. I would pick it up when you're down there.
So I can get here, and then it starts to twin to this.
Straighten your arms. Straighten your arms here. Yep. Okay, now go down.
It's wider.
No, see, I don't want you to do that all. I want you to pick up the weight when you're down.